Morning, afternoon, and night, it's CBS 42 weather around the clock. Now, the latest forecast from the CBS 42 Storm Team.
All right, good Thursday afternoon, everyone. Storm Team meteorologist Jacob Woods. We are going to dive into the latest guidance on the forecast for this upcoming weekend, of course, but we do not want to ignore today, where we do have a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for some severe weather, mainly just for some pea to quarter-size hail and some gusty winds, but we really haven't seen a lot of this materialize so far today. We had one severe thunderstorm warning this morning in portions of Marion County. Otherwise, the rest of us have really avoided a lot of the nasty weather. So we could still see a couple of scattered showers and storms throughout the afternoon, but the rest of today is looking more dry than wet. Temperatures are going to be in the lower half and even the mid-70s, some upper 70s there for places like Demopolis back over to Moundville, where they should see a bit more sunshine. But a mix of sun and clouds nonetheless, and a few of those storms, if they do pop up this evening, would be most likely from the Double Springs area back over to Coleman and Gadsden, Anniston. So be watching for that this evening. Gusty winds, maybe some small hail. Otherwise, the severe weather outbreak for this weekend begins on Friday to our west, and so we'll have some action that forms to our west Friday afternoon. It's going to weaken and move towards the east, but it's still going to be strong enough that it could be severe and produce some damaging winds, some large hail, and even a couple of tornadoes from as early as Friday evening into the wee hours of our Saturday. So the best chance for that would be over west central Alabama, west of Interstate 65. But then on Saturday, all of us standing a new risk here. A level 4 out of 5 covers a good chunk of central Alabama. That's a moderate risk and an upgrade from yesterday's outlook as well, extending back down the Interstate 20 and 59 corridor towards Meridian, Mississippi, back towards Jackson, Mississippi. That seems to be kind of the bullseye area that we're really honing in on as we continue to get better model data as we get closer to this event. But nonetheless, area-wide, we're all in at least a level 3 or 4 out of 5 risk, with damaging winds, tornadoes, some of which could be strong and long-tracked, and hail and heavy rain, of course, going to be a problem as well. So in terms of the storm threat levels, we've increased the tornado threat to a high level now. Damaging winds are high at 60 to 70 miles per hour. The hail threat a little lower, but still definitely going to be problematic for anybody that does see some really large hail. It can be quite destructive, and that heavy rain, 1 to 2 inches area-wide, are possible. In terms of the timeline, I mentioned starting as early as 9 p.m. Friday night going into Saturday night. It's really about a 24-hour window that we could be looking at the potential of tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. But if we want to really shrink it down and talk about when the greatest and most significant weather is going to occur, that would be from around lunch on Saturday into around midnight Saturday night. So that's when we could be looking at some strong EF2 plus potentially tornadoes, and those could be long tracked and of course on the ground for a period of time. So Futurecast, we're starting to get the high-res guidance now, and that's really giving us a much better handle on the environment and the setup as opposed to what we've kind of had access to over the last couple of days. But nonetheless, we're going to start out Saturday morning here with a couple of showers and storms. These could be severe because, again, they're in that window of the timeline that I just showed you where we could have the ingredients in place for a couple of these to turn severe and maybe even tornadic. But I don't think that's going to be the big problem for Saturday morning. I'm really watching to see if we end up with a bunch of rain and storms developing across the area like this model is showing from around Columbus, Mississippi up to Tupelo and back into portions around northwest Muscle Shoals area, northwest Alabama. If that's the case, that would actually make their air a lot more stable, which would limit the severe weather threat for the afternoon on Saturday. Nonetheless, severe weather would still occur area-wide, but we would be really lowering that tornado threat quite a bit if we wake up on Saturday and we end up with a lot of showers and storms kind of just absorbing all of the energy in the atmosphere. Otherwise, if we go with this model, and this model is a bit more concerning, it actually shows any rain that occurs during the early afternoon would quickly push towards the north. Our air would destabilize once again, and then we would see a line of potentially supercells, or what we would call very long-tracked organized storms, to move into west central Alabama. This would be around 2, 3, 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and these would be the ones that we would have to watch for the potential of those long-track tornadoes. This would be moving into the Birmingham area maybe around 6 or 7 o'clock on Saturday evening, just to kind of give you a very general time frame of right now. This is going to change. Things may speed up, they may slow down, and the entire thing may end up being a bust if we end up with a lot of rain Saturday morning. So still a lot of conditions that we have at play here. Of course, you want to make sure that this is not the last forecast you get. Please continue to check back between now and Saturday, and of course, once we get to Saturday, have multiple ways to receive those weather alerts.